What's up, guys? Well, last night I unlocked the shaders of my 6950, and now we've got, let's see if we can get that in shot here. We've got 1,536 unified shaders instead of 1,000 and I think 8 or something like that. 1,408. That's what it had stock, I believe. So, now let's run the same benchmarks as I did before and see how much just unlocking the shaders helps. Now, I'm going to do this a lot quicker than I usually do. I'm just going to show you all the results and then talk about it after while I'm doing some gameplay. So, I'm going to run this. And then you're just going to see a bunch of random screenshots. I'm going to see how that'll work out. So, I'll start talking again after I start the gameplay video. On second thought, I've thought of a new way of showing the results. All I'm going to do from now on is take a picture of it, and then, or a screenshot of it, and then zoom in, and now you guys can see everything a lot easier. And let's see, we got 23,760, and last time, yes, I have my other video up on my TV here. I knew this little computer would be useful for more than just watching anime one of these days. So, before, with the shaders stock, we got 23,640, and now we've got 23,760. So, not really all that different, at least on this particular test, but let's keep going. Keep these short. Okay, so before I got 18,992 with a GPU score of 18,325 and a CPU score of 21,322. This time, with the shaders unlocked, it got 19,775 with a GPU score of 19,361 and a CPU score of 21,131. So I got a little lower CPU score there, but you know, whatever. So let's move on to 11. Okay, last time we got 4,729 3D marks. This time with the shaders unlocked, we got 4,864 3D marks. So a little tiny 100-point increase, pretty much. So now let's move on to the next one. Okay, now for the heaven benchmark. Again, everything just like it was before is completely maxed out. We're gonna hit run, and camera will be turned back on when it's done. So, stock, we got 17,000, or wow, I don't know what I'm talking about, 17.7 frames per second with a score of 447. Minimum frames per second are 8.3 and max are 36.4. So now with unlocked shaders, we get 18 frames a second, 454, 9.5 minimum frames per second, and 37.2 max. So not a huge jump at all, but you know, a little bit helps. So now let's move on to the next test. Alright, setting for Crisis Benchmark again, everything on very high. 1920 by 1080, you know, anti-aliasing, 64-bit, and DirectX 10. And we'll begin. Okay, so stock it got 39.9 frames a second. And this time it got 28.6 frames a second minimum, max of 48.68, and an overall average of 41.48. So we got a few frames a second more. So now let's move on to Warhead. Okay, so for the Crisis Warhead, we're going to run on Enthusiast, 1920 by 1200, no anti-aliasing, Avalanche, and DirectX 10. So we'll add that to the queue and execute and turn the camera back on when it's done. So stock, it got 23 minimum, 51 max, and an average of 38.71. And now it's got a minimum of 11, a max of 54, and an average of 40.05. So the minimum went down a little bit. That's kind of random, but whatever. But the average went up 2 frames a second about, or close to it. So now let's move on to some actual gameplay. Okay, so now we're in Crisis Warhead just like we were before when it was stock, in the exact same place. I'm going to try and follow around the same line I did before. Anti-aliasing is up all the way. We're at 1920 by 1200. Everything is on enthusiast besides motion blur because that stuff's stupid. So, let's see how we do. So far it seems I'm getting like about 3 frames a second more than I was before.
You made it. What do you mean I made it? Of course I fucking made it. Sierra 2 Command, proceed to RP Tango Papa 70. Negative, Command. This place is crawling with KPA. Send Big Mother. Negative, Sierra 2. Your orders. Damn it. I'm one man with a pistol against the entire KPA. Send a fucking pickup. You have your orders, Sierra 2. I'll be there soon, mate. Keep it together. Psycho, the camera data should be located on the pilot's ejection seat. Get it before the KPA destroy it.
Ooh, grenades. Cool, I like how they just randomly survive everything I do. But I'm not all that great at this game anyway, so it's to be expected. Yeah, you throw that grenade at nothing, buddy. Okay, now there's a tree in my way. Fantastic. Whatever. Alright, I got to about up here, and that's about where I stopped. So we picked up a few more frames a second, it looks like. So now let's move on to the other game I tested, which was... what was it? Oh yeah, it was Dragon Age 2. So let's move on to that. Okay, now we're playing some Dragon Age 2. It's the same settings I was using before, 1920 by 1200, DirectX 11, high, 8x anti-aliasing, and 16x anisotropic filtering. So now let's just run around a little bit. Since I'm farther in the game now, it's kind of hard to do exactly what I did in the last video, but... Uh-oh.
Lieutenant, I want everyone in the clearing, now!
Hmm?
Your men are dead, and your trappers failed. I suggest running back to your master while you can. You're going nowhere, slave.
Huh.
I am not a slave.
Somebody just got owned.
I apologize.
Alright.
I asked Anso to provide a distraction. My name would, thankfully, Anso chose wisely. If they were really I suppose it was too much to hope for. I know you have questions.
Yeah, I already know all this. Okay. So now we'll just run around. Hopefully maybe get into a battle, possibly. That would be nice. But there's never one around when you need one. At least that's what it seems like.
The streets aren't safe enough. We should do something about that.
Okay. Here we go. And owned. Okay. That should be enough of that game. Now I'm going to exit without saving so I can just do the same thing I just did when I do the overclocking part. That way it'll be easier to, see the differences. Alright, now I got one last game to try out that I just bought. Okay, so I finally got Metro 2033. And I'm running it at 1920 by 1200, quality high, DirectX 11, AAA anti-aliasing, and 16x anisotropic filtering.
We'll have to get through the military outpost to reach the surface, Lieutenant. Тихо. Something's moving in there. Shit is always breaking down. Use the auxiliary hand system to open the gate. Артем, check those crates for ammo and medpacks.
Sweet.
Ready, Артем? Follow me.
Okay.
This is the Королев performance one. It's really close to the tower. I've been mapping. Суки. Here they come.
Cool, not cool. Not cool.
If you're wounded, use your air tank. Let's give it a pull. Okay, Arthur, you ready? Pull. Look, I won't. Let's move out.
Come in, Wyman. Come in. Over. You're coming through loud and clear. Over. We're at the tower. I repeat, we're at the tower. Did the group move out? Over. That's affirmative. We've made contact. I should be in the vicinity of the tower now. Over.
Roger, we'll contact you again when we're at the top of the tower. Better fix our orientation then. Over. Let's go, the others should already be here.
Okay, I think that's just about enough of that. You know, keep close to the beginning of the game so I can just restart and go to the same spot that I was at. But we're getting pretty much 30 frames a second all the time. A couple of times I think it dropped down in the 20s, but I think it did pretty good. So now I'm going to mess around and overclock this thing, and we'll see what kind of performance we can get overclocked with unlocked shaders. So I'll make another video probably later tonight. If not tonight, then tomorrow. So till then, peace out, guys.